Welcome, boys and girls, ladies and gentle cats. I hope you're having an awesome day so far. My name is CatmasterOP, and I quickly wanted to give you an update on my Ngamahu's Flame Chieftain that I've been playing in the solo self-found hardcore variation of the flashback race. Now, I already made a video about this a couple days ago, 2 days ago, and quickly gave you an outline of what I was doing there, and my ideas solidified. I made some changes, I have some further plans, and of course I also, solidified my impression of the build. I personally haven't played Ngamahu's Flame since Abyss League, and I also think I didn't play Cyclone, but I played only Molten Strike back then. So for me personally, coming back to this weapon with the wonderful triggerable Molten Burst that you can support with the gems that you socket in the weapon has been a blast so far. It's a really cool weapon. I don't know how up to date it is. It feels honestly a little bit short ranged, but that may be the way I build it. I'm not using increased AoE. I'm only using one AoE cluster at the Templar. So, could probably make it bigger, but that's my biggest gripe with it so far, is that you sometimes have to feel you go back and forth in a pack just to cover it all. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with the build, and we've been pushing it into yellow maps. Last video I made, we were in Blood Aqueducts. Now, the changes and additions that I made so far are mostly gear, a little bit of socket setups, and yeah, and we're also progressing in the tree. So I want to start with the items. I rolled this pretty neat amethyst ring with an essence, so that it has a mod gain 10% fizz as extra fire, which is really cool in a 100% conversion build where you already convert 100% of your damage to fire, 100% of your physical damage, that is. Then you get another 10%. The difference between gain as extra and convert is literally just that conversion caps out at 100%, while gain as extra does not cap out. So this ring is really good value. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to wear it because it doesn't have any resists, but it's really cool for now. We started using the Queen of the Forest, which requires you to build a little bit of evasion also in your flask setup, because it comes with the 25% reduced movement speed, which you first have to overcome, right? Without Queen of the Forest, we're at a 53% movement speed modifier. With the Queen of the Forest, we're at 38. But if we use our Jade Flask and our Stibnite Flask, one of which has reflexes for increased evasion rating, could be a higher roll, then I believe we're going to something like 150. I don't know right now. I'd have to check in my hideout. Let's check in the hideout. Don't want to come back to that. So, let's see. It's 80 plus the adrenaline is 144. So with all flasks up, we're at 144% movement speed. Movement speed is incredibly important for Cyclone, which is also why you really kind of need Rampage. We're currently using Worm Sign, just like in the last video, to gain Rampage while at max endurance charges. What's important to point out here is you only have to be at maximum endurance charges for the very first kill that counts towards your Rampage counter. Afterwards, you can lose all endurance charges, so you can still run cast one damage taking Immortal Call without problems. And yeah, that's basically just what I wanted to say here. Really fast. Rampage gives you 1% movement speed per 20 Rampage kills, so it caps out at a total of 50% increased movement speed when you're at max stacks of 1,000 Rampage. Rampage also gives you 2% increased damage per 20 kills, so you get up to 100% increased damage, which is also pretty helpful, right? I rolled another ring. This one, we currently don't need a resist craft on this, and I just unveiled the minimum endurance charges craft, so I was like, okay, let's craft the minimum endurance charge. That's 4% all res, that's 4% fizz mitigation, that's permanently up, so why not, right? Because this can also not be removed by cast one damage Immortal Call, right? So if my Immortal Call goes off, it doesn't consume that one endurance charge, because that's the minimum endurance charge. I'm using a Jade Amulet, Shaper Jade Amulet, that gives me physical as extra cold, so my damage can chill because a portion of it is cold now. A little bit of all res, a little bit of flat fizz, a little bit of life, nothing special here, right? And we replaced the Blasphemy Warlord's Mark for a Blasphemy Poacher's Mark. Now we're running Blasphemy Warlord's Mark because Warlord's Mark grants leech, life, and mana against enemies cursed with Warlord's Mark, and it grants you endurance charge generation. But both of those we get from our Ascendancy, as Hinekora gives me 1% fire damage leeches life, and Tawoa gives me a % chance to gain an endurance charge when I kill a burning enemy. It's not super reliable, it's kind of enough to keep up your endurance charges, but since I want to keep up my endurance charges on single target anyway, I'm also using an Enduring Cry. So, you know, that's not a loss. Also, we're getting Mana Leech, obviously, from the tree. We went to the Leech Cluster, which is quite a travel, especially if you want to go to the Templar and get Elemental Overload for the damage first. But in the end, this comes through, and we don't need any Mana Leech from Warlord's Mark anymore, right? Poacher's Mark makes enemies have significantly less evasion, which helps so much with my accuracy problem, right? Right now, my chance to hit on the main hand is 82% only, because we only got 1400 accuracy. But with the reduced evasion from enemies, from the Poacher's Mark, we probably go up to 87, 88%. I'd have to check in POB. I'm slacking. Anyway, accuracy was a big problem. That's why we switched Blasphemy Warlords to Blasphemy Poachers. And Poacher's Mark also grants you 100% increased blast charges gained from enemies, and some life and mana gain on hit, which is pretty neat, right? Stacks well with the life gain on hit that I got on the Molten Balls, right? I got 42 life gain on hit from this, and then Poacher's Mark another 21, which is a total of 63 life per hit. We shoot out 5 projectiles with GMP, and obviously they can hit not just one enemy but several enemies, so that's a lot of life gain on hit. We took out Onslaught from the main link, replaced it with attack speed for more procs. Onslaught we're still gaining from this Murderous Eye Jewel. It's only 4 seconds on kill and never on single target, but since this is a zoom clear speed and not really a bossing build, that's pretty much all we want. I tried to roll the 6th socket on Ngamahu's Flame a couple of times, but it didn't work. We sank a couple hundred jewelers in, and in the end I was happy to get 4 sockets back. Managed to get 5 sockets back in the meantime, but we're still saving up jewelers so we get the 6th socket. Importantly, I also picked up, as you might have spotted earlier when we looked at the passive tree, Point Blank. Point Blank deals up to 50% more damage to targets at the start of the projectile movement, and the way it works with Molten Burst and Molten Strike means that it's almost always more damage. Also, there's no downside to it. So, I mean, there is a downside to it, but there is no downside for Molten Strike or Molten Burst. My further plans for the build are giving up Worm Scale Gauntlets. Worm Sign are great, but they're not super good, right? What we can do is we can weapon swap into a weapon that grants Rampage, such as Sinvictus Medal or Dancing Dervish. That means we weapon swap into the other weapon, get a kill, weapon swap back into Ngamahu's without problems, because these are all only support gems, so you wouldn't switch off an aura like you would potentially on another build with weapon swap, right? And that would then enable me to use Tomb Fist. Tomb Fist are the unique Abyss Gloves, which will intimidate on hit if socketed with a Murderous Eye Jewel, right? That would mean we'd get Intimidate from the gloves, and we'd be able to give up the Belt of the Deceiver, because right now I'm only wearing the Belt of the Deceiver because of nearby enemies are intimidated. Intimidation means that enemies take 10% increased attack damage, which is a 10% more multiplier. Really good, right? So when we would be able to give that one up, then we could use a Stitch and Vise, like a rare belt with an Abyssal Socket, for a lot of life, a lot of damage, and you know, possibly overall a lot more value than the Belt of the Deceiver. Or alternatively, if we really want to be defensive, we could use an Elder Leather Belt for increased life recovery. A huge upgrade would be to get Corrupted Blood cannot be inflicted on you on a Corrupted Jewel, so we could use the Taste of Hate that I found. But right now we have to use the Jade Flask, otherwise we wouldn't benefit from the Queen of the Forest for move speed. And move speed, as I said, is really important in a Cyclone build. This Jade Flask of Reflexes also means we don't even have a Shock remove, because we have a Curse remove, a Bleed remove, and the Evasion. We got the Freeze and Chill here. And yeah, we're using a Quicksilver of Adrenaline because movement speed is so important. Another thing that I thought we could do is we could put the 5-socket Cyclone setup into the unique ring, the Hungry Loop, and then use Calm's Heart over Queen of the Forest. But again, that would make the build a lot slower, and it's probably only worth it for high red maps. The tree that I want to make for this build looks a little bit like the tree up there, and that tree should be in the description down below. Today we're going to hopefully get the build into red maps, maybe even into the, you know, top 20 or the top 10 Chieftain. I don't know whether that's possible currently. Should be possible definitely before the end of the league. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to make coffee. I'm going to start up the stream. If you want to catch me live on stream, ask any questions about the build, ask about how great it will be in 3.7, or if you want to look with me at the announced Ascendancy changes for the Chieftain, feel free to come over. I'm fairly new at making one-take videos, so if there's anything that you feel I could massively improve upon, leave a comment down below, engage in discussion with me, give me feedback. I really like that. Other than that, I'd like to thank you for liking and subscribing, and see you when I see you.